Here we are at the finish line of the 70th Ausable River Canoe Marathon, presented by Consumers Energy.
Also from Quebec. So it's quadruple Quebec.
And the two Quebec teams are nose and nose. And the sprint is starting.
Sponsored by 98.5 UPS.
Expect them to be at over 80 strokes a minute by the time they get to the finish line.
Proulx and Triathlon are sponsored by Zambro Racing Equipment and
Okay, welcome to episode 2 of Smitty's Endurance Show. I'm your host, Dave Smith. First, I'd like to thank all of you that watched the first podcast last week with Pete Mead. That was well received and got some nice feedback on that. So I certainly appreciate those that took the time to check that out. I'd like to welcome onto the show today Christophe Proulx. Christophe has won many races throughout his career. Some of the most notable wins are first place in the Ausable River Canoe Marathon in both 2016 and 2017. He also has finished second twice in the Classique. Christophe, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
That video there probably brings back some good memories, eh?
Yeah, it was a nice feeling, and it was it was fun to be 4 Quebecers at the end on a sprinting line on another country. It's like, even if it was first and second position, it was just a thrill to be against our friend on another river.
Yeah. Now that's the year before it was kind of a sprint finish too, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was about the exact same finish. I was with Ryan Alstead, and we got to the finish against Sandy Tribble and Jacob Dubois. So it was the same scenario, just a nose ahead, and yeah, just enough to win.
So I'm thinking, the next time you race, probably the other team's not going to want to go into that last straightaway and risk a sprint with you, huh?
Yeah, I bet people will do whatever they can to get rid of us a little bit before the end. With the couple years we had good finish on the sprint, so now people know.
Yeah, cool. Hey, so I'd like to, wind the clock back a bit. If you could start maybe by taking us through some of your youth years, maybe talk about, where you grew up, some of the sports you played, and then how you eventually got into paddling.
Sure. I'm born in Trois-Rivières, and I've been raised in Shawinigan. Shawinigan is where the Classique is known, in the canoe world is known for the Classique, but we also have the national park of the Mauricie-la-Mauricie. It's a big national park. There's a lot of endurance events. They have during the winter, they have cross-country skiing race. During the summer, they have cycling bike race. And so there's a lot of endurance sport in Shawinigan. I've grown there. My first Classic I've seen, it was in 1995, the years I was born in July, and my dad and my mom bring me to the Classic a couple months later. My dad and my grandfather were sponsoring Tim Tribble that year, and the Alderwood Quiz they won. So I've always been around canoe, but it took me a couple years to get into it. I've done mountain bike when I was a kid. I played a little bit of hockey. I did a little bit of all kind of sports during school and stuff. I picked up swimming in high school. I wanted to be lifeguard, so I've trained a lot in swimming. Then I picked up kayaking, sprint kayak, canoe and kayak. That was really fun. I liked the going there and be in the water. And in 2010, I didn't want to go to the kayak training anymore. I was kind of over it. I was bored to just race in lane. And my dad, his partner was injured. I don't remember exactly. And he needed someone to go train. So I went with him in the C2. And that was the beginning of me racing C2. 2 weeks after, I did my first race with him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that sounds like, a certainly a great place to live, and there's a lot of tradition with that Classique race. I can see how it would be inspiring for you to want to get into that.
Yes, it's like in grayling. The Classique for Shawinigan is like the marathon for grayling. When you're a kid, you watch them run to the water, and then you grow up and you want to be the one that jump in the water. It's same for us. As kid, we go on the boulevard. There's a big portage on the boulevard. It's probably one of the funniest portage you can do in canoe marathon world. There's people cheering to you. It's like the end of a stage. You're just want to get done with it, and you get there when you're a kid. You see them running, and then it's you a couple years later. It's fun.
Yeah, no, I've never been. I have a plan to do it at some point, but have certainly seen some videos. That seems pretty intense and quite the atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a really nice one.
So, Christophe, could you if you could walk us through what you do for a living, for work.
Sure.
And then also maybe talk to us a little bit about your family.
Yes. Since January into 2020, I'm in the Canadian Armed Force. I'm in the artillery, and so that's my new thing I'm working on. And my family is a paddling family, as I can say. My dad did C2. He did his first Classique, I think, in '94. He have a 10th Classique. He did the marathon in 2008, I think. He's been building boats. He built kayak, canoes, Rabaska. He's been in the canoe world for a long time. He done repairs, so he's well known here in Shawinigan. My sister raised the Triple Crown once. She did a couple Classique. She's been around paddling too. She coached me when I was younger in the kayak club. I think she might be doing a comeback maybe sometime. She raced a marathon with her boyfriend in 2016, and my mom, she's doing a dragon boat, so she's paddling too, and she have her kayak, so she go out, and we're pretty much a big paddling family.
Awesome. Yeah, that's I definitely recognize that. In that sport, it seems to be. I recognize that in grayling. Certainly with the Ausable, there seems to be some names throughout history. Whether it was a grandfather, father,
yes,
son deal, and so on, but or daughter and mother. But
it's
a sport because of that.
Yeah, it's used to be just like this is how you learn it. You go with someone that it's easy when it's family, and they teach you how to paddle. It's pretty hard to get into a boat when you don't have any boat to go paddle into it with your friends. So usually that's how it started. I think it's pretty cool. That's what Kevin Olsen just starting. He started a program to coach. I think that's really good to get people into like you have to buy a canoe, but after that, someone will like tell you how to like get there and do it. It's not just buy a canoe and figure it out. So I think it's pretty cool. The sport is gonna grow.
Yeah, I noticed that. No, that's a good thing that Kevin's doing. Most of my adult career, I've come from the sport of triathlon, so swim, bike, run. And in that sport, there's a lot of coaches.
Yes.
But I noticed that in paddling, that there's some room for some people to teach people properly when they're beginning their paddling.
The marathon technique is not quite like official yet, because I've done some sprint kayak a lot in the past years. I know we're going to talk about it later, but like the technique in kayak is like almost like A, B, C, D. In marathon canoe you can do a lot of variation and still get to the point A and B pretty fast. So
sure.
Triathlon, I've coached swimming in triathlon. I've done a couple of years in Shawinigan. There was a club, so I like triathlon. It's a really nice sport. Maybe one day I'll be done with paddling and I'll go into the water and then bike and then run.
Yeah. I think there's pretty good crossover, between the two as far as fairly similar, physiology and just strength, endurance.
Yes, the resilience that you need in those boat sport are pretty similar.
Yeah. So I'd like to ask you about some of the events that you've done. With all the races, I'm sure it's challenging to pick just one, but Could you tell us about maybe one or two of your favorite races that you've competed in over the years, and talk to us about why that would be a favorite event?
Sure. You want me to talk about a favorite event, or like which one is my favorite race to go every year?
Maybe both. So
Sure.
one you like to go to every year, and then maybe a memorable one, maybe because you did really well, or for whatever reason it maybe you were having a rough day, but then endured the challenge.
Yes. But the favorite race I like to go every year, it's the marathon. I like to go the week out there, the spikes, it's the big event. I like to go there. And one of my most memorable race ever is my first marathon with Nick Walton, when I got up there. And I didn't know, like, I've seen the race on the internet. I didn't know I was racing that year, so I didn't have like maybe the volume of training I would wanted. So it was a pretty scary race to begin with, but we just started, and at Stefan Bridge we were like second or third, and I was just, oh my god, that's crazy. So that's this race, the completely race, I was just second, third, and I couldn't imagine, like, I was like, something's wrong, something's gonna broke at some point, we're gonna die or whatever, we cannot just finish second like that. And yeah, so that one is my favorite one. I didn't have the watch, I didn't have the GPS, I was just following Nick and just having fun.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a nice way to start. I'm sure that you want to come back for more after that one.
Yeah, it was pretty fun to just go out there and go there without any like thoughts. Yeah, expectation.
Yeah.
And ended up doing like a really, really, really good result. That was, you don't have the pressure too much. You go out there and you have fun. Sometimes really good thing can happen.
Yeah. No, I think that's nice for everybody to hear, because, certainly nowadays, like you said, there's some people, and I'm still pretty new to the sport, but it seems that some rely a little bit, maybe too much, on technology, rather than just going out and having fun and racing hard,
Yes, and there's people that just look at the minute goes by, and it can get into your head at some point. It's fun to know where you are. When you know the river, you don't need to watch. Like I've been blessed with the partner I had, and pretty much everybody knows where we are on the river, and they can tell me. So I'd never really needed one. But the last couple of races I did with Sam.
Sure. Yeah. Awesome. Hey, so speaking of, Nick Walton there and partners, over the years, I know you've had a few different partners. And so, I won't ask you to pick a favorite, but maybe speak a little bit about what some of those partners brought to the table for you, as far as making them a good partner for you, so that you could do well in these races.
Sure, but the first partner I had was my dad, the one that bring me into canoe. I had photo on Facebook of us. I think I have like maybe 5 years, and I'm in the bow of the boat, and we had to put like a weight in it so we can balance. So that's how I started, really. But no, my dad and I, we did from 2010 to 2012. We paddled together. We did race the Classique in 2012. So that's with him that I learned all my base. And after that, I raced with Nick. Nick really showed me the toughness that you need, the mental toughness you need in those really, really long races. He's been like, he was really nice with me, because he knew that I was really new at the sport at that moment. I had one Classique in the book, that's it. And the way he bring me into the race was really, he didn't put pressure on me, and it was like, just follow me and we'll go through it. We just don't have to stop, and we'll go from point A to point B. And during the race, we were into a race with a couple other boats, and he just never showed any weakness. And I think that was really inspiring. And that, like, I try to now to bring that with me when I race against him. And also a trick he learned me is, when you start at that's the big secret, I think, like from this podcast is now, it's at the starting line of the marathon. You don't want to pick your boat on your shoulder when you're in the couple front row. It's just a little bit longer. And when you get in the water, you have your paddle in your left hand, the boat in your right hand. So the way you jump off the dock, your boat is already on the side of the water and you have your paddle ready to go. So that's the big secret that Nick showed me. And I have a picture on Facebook of him in 2014. So I call him out, and he have his boat here, I think in 2016 or 17. So
That's funny.
Yeah, I've raced with Ryan Alstead after that. Him and I, that was my first year in the bow. He really helped me to fix my technique. I think Ryan is a really good technician. He raced with Steve Corlew, that I think is one of the guys that have the best stroke out there. So Ryan helped me to figure out my bow stroke, if I can tell. When I was in the stern in 2013, I had the chance at the beginning of the marathon week. We stayed with Nick at his place, and we were hanging out with Andy and Steve. And at some point we broke our boat, so we had to go fix it at Tim Stribble's place. And I had the chance that Tim showed me a couple of videos of Steve and Andy, and he gave me some tricks so I can save energy when steering my boat when I was astern. And I really appreciate that Tim Tribble took time to give me some tips, like in a race week. That was really nice of him. And more recently, I had the chance to train all summer last year with Serge Corbin. So that was a really nice experience to have. I've raced with him, but no big race because there was no big race for us. But yeah, I've raced with him, and I've learned some stuff. I'm really happy to be able to paddle with him, because at some point I didn't know if I would be able to paddle with Serge, because he's getting old, but it's still really fast, I can tell you.
Yeah, no, I saw you guys did well in some races last summer, and he certainly looked fit. And
yes,
geez, I can't imagine learning from anyone better. Obviously he's
yes,
kind of the king of marathon canoe paddling. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and what I learned from him is really just put on time, but quality time. Don't just go out there and lose your, if you want to go out and just lose your time, go bike, go run, go do something else. You don't want to paddle, but if you want to go paddle, go out there and be efficient.
Yeah, no, that's that seems to be kind of a reoccurring theme, because Pete Mead kind of mentioned that last week too, about having a plan. And when you're out paddling, be focused on getting in your workout and getting the job done. So that's awesome. So I'd like to talk to you a little bit. So you've already mentioned a little bit about some of the things that you've learned from some of the veteran paddlers. Is there anybody else out there that you've learned, maybe it's from the technique side of things, or about training or racing, so different veteran paddlers that you've learned from over the years?
For technique, I pretty much relate with with what my dad learned back then. He paddled a bit with Patrick Lynch a couple of years. He showed him a couple tricks, and then after that I really relied on my kayak learning skills. I did my class to become a coach for kids, so you got to learn the technique and you got to really learn it. And I was kind of wondering how you can adjust that to a marathon. And that's what I kind of started working around 2015, I think. Richard Auberginiard is a guy from Trois-Rivières. He's a two-time Olympian. Did World Cup in sprint kayak, every distance, 1,000 meter, 500, 200. He's a really good technician in kayak. And I've been paddling with him. I had the chance to paddle with him since 2012. And he always helped me kind of figure out how to get more efficient. And he showed me also to pick the step up and be really focused on what you do. Those athletes, those Olympic athletes, that's what they do. They really focus, and he helped me to really put something in order in my mind so I can really go forward and become the best athlete I can. Since 2016, I started working on some program that worked for me. So not too much hour. I don't like to spend too much hour on the water. I prefer to go out and go really hard, do interval, and I'll do a 3 hour on Friday night, and I'll do a 3 hour on the Saturday morning. I prefer to do that than just to go out and do 6 hour, because I like to work on a race pace that's higher. With Sam, that's what we work. That's Sam and I think we figured out a way for us to be really, really fast in 2017. We were training a lot, and we were doing those kind of training. We're doing a 3-hour paddle, like maybe 2 or 3 times a week, plus a sprint training and sometimes a race in the weekend. And we're doing a lot of portage. So Sam and I, we kind of worked on that, a small program we can call that we do during the summer. He's done it with Guillaume. I know that they both liked it because they were really performant when they were racing together. So I think we figured out a little way to train for those races by not overtraining and just thinking about what we do and do a programmation.
Sure.
So that's what I learned from experience, we can say.
Yeah. So off of that, I'd certainly like to talk a little bit more in depth about the training, but since you mentioned, your technique, could you just share a little bit about maybe what that technique is without giving away your secrets?
There's no secret about that. You just you got to move over your paddle. When you paddle, you don't want your paddle to get into the water and move back. You want to move over your paddle. If you look at video of I like to look at kayak video, because I think you can see the way they paddle. You can see the core engage, and you can see the leg. In canoe, you want to do the same thing, but not at the same level of you won't use your leg as much as in the kayak, but you will use it. You will have the same base. It's pretty much the same. So you want to stick your paddle in the water, and then you want to move over it by doing a rotation with your core, keeping your shoulder low so your paddle is well anchored in the water. It's pretty hard for me to explain it in English, but
sure.
Like you go see video and you just put the paddle in the water and then you move over it. If you look at at me paddling that way, you'll see like the movement when I say that I move over it. If you pay attention, you'll see it. Sure. But then it's how you do it is when you go out and you practice it. Don't try to go fast. Take your time just to feel your paddle really anchored in the water and feel that you move over it. At the beginning, you'll feel that it's like slow and not really fast. Mm-hmm. But when you get used to it and you just try to go a little bit faster and try to always keep it really easy, that's where you learn to be smooth and just glide your boat moving over it. It's like when you're good at biking, you just go and you just
sure. Yeah. No,
so
that's very helpful. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Don't try to catch too much forward. Also, just like you have your body, use your body. If you have you're really strong from your arms, I guess you can push more down. You're really strong with your legs. Use it wisely. Don't overdo it so you get tired. There's a lot of stuff. Paddling is a really, really, really technique sport, and plus because it's endurance, everybody can use a different technique. You'll see endurance swimmer, they kind of all have different techniques. Some people swim with their arm completely out of the water, straight arms. You see a lot of different techniques. It's the same thing in canoe. So you see people like Andy Tribble, you won't be able to paddle like him. I don't care who you are, you won't be able to do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, in my experience, endurance sports, you got to find the technique that works for you and your body. There's always a few key things that you got to get right for sure. But like you said, it can look differently and still accomplish the same
but when you look at two people, they're paddling really, really differently. Like you take Andy Tribble and Serge Corbin, they both have the completely different technique when you look at it outside of the boat. But when you paddle with them in the boat, they really take time to get a really, really good catch in the water. And then they process to the moment they put their paddle in the water, they already have the 100%. They can put the power right away almost. So that's with the time. And there's people that just understand it when you put your paddle that you can use it to go forward. And there's people that will just put their paddle in the water and push the water back and just go with it. And it's fine because at some point there's people that can still go fast that way, because if you have good muscle, you can just muscle your boat through the race.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, that's
No problem.
to hear about. So speaking about some of the training, so you mentioned a little bit already. I guess when it comes to like intervals, or even when you guys would do those 3-hour back-to-back paddles, I mean, is the intensity level like how you would paddle in a race, or even above race pace? Or
Yeah, I always train on race pace, but you gotta think about what's race pace. If we're in the like before Cooperstown, I'll train for my race pace of Cooperstown, which is like faster kind of gear than marathon. And Classique, the race pace for Classique is different than race pace for marathon. So I always, the past couple of years, when I was doing C2, I was just training for marathon, and the 2 others were like, I'll see if I'm not injured after a marathon, how I'll get ready for my Classique, or I'll do Cooperstown just to get ready for marathon. I didn't train to peak for Cooperstown or Classique, because when you train, it's really hard to peak 3 times in the summer. So you kind of, for me, I don't like to, it would be too, I would have to do too much paddling to play with those 3 times to peak in the summer, and I don't like it. I prefer to just focus on one and go with it, because I think it was good for me those couple years.
Yeah.
So I'm still going with that technique, but yeah, I don't remember what I was saying.
Yeah. So just no, that completely makes sense. You know, it certainly is challenging to race all 3 of those Triple Crown
Yes.
races, I'm sure, at the highest level, just with you know, the demand on the body and what you have to go through to get ready for those.
Yeah. So like for figuring out the race pace, maybe you want to use a heart rate monitor. That's what I used to do to figure out my zone. So, you know, you want to go out and let's say, I don't remember my stats for marathon, but let's say it's about 130 heart rate or 140 heart rate. Maybe that's my zone during the marathon. So during my 3 hour, I will want to work on that pace, get it as more efficient as I can. So if we go out and we did a 3 hour paddle and we did 31 kilometers in it, so the next time we'll try to do the same ride. We have like we go around some island and then we come back. The next time we're gonna try to do it faster, but keeping the heart rate in the same zone. So we're gonna have to work on the technique. That's what we were doing with Sam. And you get to know a lot your partner when you do those kind of stuff. Let's say you go out for 3 hours and every 5 minutes you do a 30-second sprint. So this is a way we train, to do some little interval here and there, so you keep focused during your training. It's long training, and you don't have a coach again to be on the side of you and just keep like telling you stuff. So you got to find a way to make it go faster and make it still fun to do. Have a goal. When you go out, have a goal. It will be easier.
Well, whatever you guys are doing, it certainly seems to be working. You know, you guys, you know, have had quite the success lately, you know, in the last few years. You know, geez, between all of you, it seems like, you know, in the top 3 for sure, the last 4 or 5 years between you and Sam and, you know.
Yeah, we also train a lot with the Pellerin brother. They are from around here. So we have a really good, you know, when we do have our little race during the summer, it's pretty much if you finish, like you come on a Saturday race we have here, and you finish in the top 5, you can almost say that at the Classique you'll be in the top 10, because there's not like the when everybody's coming Shawinigan, the Classique, it's pretty much who everybody going to race against all season. So it's fun to go out like to those races in Michigan and have other people you can race against, like, because you have your friend here that you kind of train with them, and then you go out there, you have other people. It's different. It's fun. It's keep it. You can kind of see it. Sometimes marathon paddlers are stronger. Sometimes Quebec paddlers are stronger, and I think it all depends on the like the race season they have. Like here in Quebec, if there's not a lot of race during a summer, you'll see that not a lot of team will be showing up at the marathon, or if there's a lot of race, people are really like having a good season in marathon, then they show up to Classique. Sometimes just to have fun, just to see like another race, but sometimes they come out and they race.
Oh yeah, no, that's funny. Yeah, it's certainly being able to share the training with other like-minded individuals is definitely helpful. It's nice
Yes.
to the little bit I've been able to paddle with people a little bit better than me. It's been nice to learn from them, but then also it helps push you in training.
Yes, and what I say to new people is don't be shy to ask more experienced paddler for advice or to go paddle with them. That's how those people learn at first. So just go out and ask. Sometime I'm on the river, I'll be by the side of a boat, and sometimes I'll say some technique stuff to them. But most of the time, when I'm on the river, is to train. There's not a lot of time in the summer, so when I'm out there to train. Maybe I won't take time to tell you because I'll be focused. But if you ask me when I pass by you, there's a lot of chance that I will respond and I will tell like a tricks or whatever, because I know how it is and I know it's important to help people around to make the sport grow.
Yeah, no, I've certainly experienced that myself. I mean, there's in grailing, it seems to be, quite a few people, and I agree. I mean, you got to ask though,
Yes.
in order, but anytime I've asked, certainly I've gotten good feedback from pretty much everybody I've asked. So, yeah, I think that's the key, is just making sure you're not afraid to ask. And, that's, it's a welcoming community for sure.
Yes.
So, I'd like to switch gears a little bit and talk a little bit about boats.
Sure.
So what are some of the different boats that you've raced in over the years, and what would be your favorite boat that you race in?
There's only one race I can remember I haven't done in Corbin 95. It's hard to say because I've raced the Corbin 95, but with Nick we raced the Savage River built 95.
Okay.
But I've pretty much always raced the 95. The only time I haven't been in the 95 model is either a Surge built or a Savage built was with Mathieu Saint-Pierre in 2013. We had the 2010, Corbin 2010. The decision behind that was Mathieu was a kind of paddler, was moving a lot. He liked to race in the V1, and I don't like the V. I cannot paddle in a V. So we tried the 94. The 95, it was kind of a little bit too shaky because he liked to have his seat high, and I prefer him to be comfortable in his seat. So if you want it high, we just have to change the boat, and we found a 2010. That was a sponsor at the time, Foresterie Lacombe. They let us use it for the Classique. That was really nice, and we finished third. So that was, I think that's the best finish for 2010 still. But it's a pretty fast. It's kind of the 95 for people that don't know the model. The 95 is most people say it's one of the fastest boat out there. The top speed is good, and it's pretty easy to keep gliding with the high stroke rate. The 2010 will be a little bit more. It have a little bit more volume, I think. It will be better for a paddler heavier, like a 95. If you're about over 175, 180, the boat design is not supposed to be well fit for a paddler over 180 in front. I know there's bigger paddler than that paddle 95, but in like when you talk with Serge or with René Marino, the guys that designed this boat, that they did the 2010 for a little bit bigger guy or for mixed team that have a lot of weight difference. In 2013, that was one of our concern because Mathieu was like 180 and I was 140, I think 135, 140. So we needed a boat that have a good, that we can like play with the weight. That the 95 is not the best one for that. So we did the 2010, and about that, the 95, it's one of probably the fastest boat. The fastest top speed I had in a boat was with the GD Pro 18 in Florida, was with the Western Willoughby, and we had like a really, really crazy top speed. John Diller let me that boat so I can do some tests with it. A summer, it was probably one of the fastest boat I've paddled, but it was almost too fast, not enough volume to keep it like gliding. It was like too hard to keep it paddling, to keep it that fast. But yeah, people, boats will. I'm sure we're gonna see a good boat pop out in the couple next years. People are starting working on some gillies and stuff, and no, we'll see. I think it's gonna be good.
Yeah, no, it seems seems like there are a few people out there trying to maybe take some of the older models and change them slightly to make them work for them.
Because at the marathon, not necessarily the fastest boat will win. It's a really, really long race. So maybe like the top 10, it's cool to have a 95. But if I would race with like in the middle pack, like 30 to maybe 60, I'd take the boat that's the more easy to keep gliding, the boat that's the most, I don't care about speed. You just want to go like slow is smooth, smooth is fast. That was Ryan was telling me. Just want to get the boat going. If you have a boat that's too tippy for you, it's not good. You won't have a good time.
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that. I mean, we my partner and I, we only started paddling in the fall of 2019, and did the marathon in 2019, and we bought one of Pete's old boats. It's a Corbin 95, and we love it now, but initially it was a little too much for us.
Yeah, I bet.
To start out with that boat. So, but it's starting to work for us now. So
yeah, once you understand the 95, how to just steer it with the leaning, it's so much fun to. It's my favorite boat to steer when I'm in the back. I just want to paddle 95. When I'm in the bow, I like the gillies. The gillies, it's a nice boat to paddle in the bow, but I know that for the stern, it's a pain in the ass. I think I did one race in the gillies with Nick. We did Boston. I don't know if you heard of the race in Boston. He used to have.
Okay, no.
On the it was on the Charles River, a race with a lot of portage.
Okay.
It was the first time I went there. I was with Nick. It was in 2014, and we raced at gillies, and I was in the stern, and I finished with all my finger cut. I don't know how people can paddle this boat in the stern. I can't.
Yeah. Now, I know I reached out to you several months ago, and I know one of the things you talked about when we were dialoguing back and forth was that you still do a fair amount of training in a kayak.
Yes.
And so can you maybe, because I know one thing you mentioned, because I do a little bit in the surf ski, and I do think and I'm good friends with Steve Corlew too. He lives not too far away from here, and I know Steve does a bunch of that and always has over the years. So maybe talk to us a little bit about how you feel the crossover is.
Sure.
Because I think there's some people that could benefit from doing more of a double-bladed, training rather than just always the single blade with like a C1.
Yeah, I just first I really don't like C1. I never do C1. Maybe in the last I can say probably last 5-6 years I've done maybe 20 hours of C1, and 10 of them was race. So I really don't like paddle C1. I don't like how you get out and you can end up with a side wind and do like 2,000 stroke on one side and 5 on the other.
Yeah.
I really don't like that idea from like a body wise perspective. I don't want to go out on the Tuesdays, supposed to be like 1 hour 30 of like really like aerobic zone, just go out there and you end up with a win, and your training is you cannot do what you plan because of the weather, or you do what you have planned and you come back with a shoulder pain. So with kayak, it's a really symmetric sport. You go on one side, then you go on the other. Mm-hmm. And I really feel that when you're paddling a kayak, every little movement you'll be feeling it. I paddle a Nilo Cinco. It's a sprint kayak. It's a really, really nervous boat. Surf ski, you feel a bit less than those sprint kayak, but still really, really good, because during your movement, during your stroke, you'll feel if you get a little bit too loose. Do you lose power? That's not efficient. Your paddle is dragging your water, make your boat like go down. That's all the stuff that when you paddling K1, you can feel that you won't be feeling in a C1 or in a C2, because it's too C1 and C2 are really rough sport. You can just, like I said, you can hammer it and go and paddle and just use your arm and go really fast. And you can go with a technique and you'll be about the same speed. It's just on your conditioning. Mm-hmm. But the kayak, as long as you want to go and keep putting more, it will go faster and faster and faster. So the gear in kayak, when we do aerobic training, like I'll say I'll go do a 15K or a 10K, it's about 70 stroke minute.
Yep.
So double bladed. So in C2 we do 70 stroke on one side. So it's certainly more sloppy in C2 because we have to have a faster turnaround. So with the kayak, you do 70 stroke minute, so 35 on each side. So you have half of the stroke to give on your side, so you can concentrate and be really efficient on doing what you have to do on this side, go on the other side. And it's really good for your I don't know how to say that, but for your connection and your body connection. So you work with your leg drive. I think is the one thing that people don't use correctly in C2 often. They give too much or not enough or not at the good timing. It's a lot of question of timing in your stroke. Like if you, I've picked up cross country skiing lately, and the timing that sport is really, really important. I just started to understand, like when you go on that ski, like the little weep you need to give. But in canoe it's the same thing, like the little push with your leg. Everybody that's seen me in my little tights before the marathon know that I have really, really skinny legs, but you don't have to be strong. You have to just have the really good timing to give it on your paddle, because anyway, those paddles are really small, so they cannot take a lot of, power more than legs. Is really strong. You see a kayak blade, it's 2 times as big as a C2 blade, and they have like a curve in it. So I think it's really good to make you work with all your muscles. So then you get in the C2 and it's kind of feel easy. It's kind of feel slow. It's feel comfortable. That's what I like. You get in your C2 and you feel like you're on the patio outside and just chilling.
Yeah, no, that's, I know one other reason, I've liked having a surf ski is it allows me to paddle on a few different bodies of water, just, just for some variation. So you're not paddling, always in the same, location, whether that's a lake or the ocean or river. So it's just kind of nice to be able to go to some different lakes, and, if it's windy and choppy, no big deal. You just still go out because, that vessel can do well in those conditions.
Yeah, it's really fun for training when you train by yourself. Sometimes like you don't have a partner like that live close by or whatever. For interval training, I think it's the best thing you can do is to go out in a surf ski or a kayak. In the C1, it's not good to do. I don't think it's only good to do interval in C1 if you want to race C1. I don't do C1 because I don't want to race C1.
Sure.
So I understand. Like I know that's people that want to race C1, they got to go out there and race. Like there's a little river we have here. It's kind of similar to the Ausable, not in like the white. How wide is it? And there's a race early in the season because otherwise there's not enough water. And it's a big race for us. Everybody trains C1. All the guys go out and they train a lot for this race. But I sometimes I do it, but it's not I don't like C1. So
well, you certainly want to like what you're doing and have fun with it. Otherwise, what's the point? Right?
That's for me. That's always been to have fun. That's why I don't do like, to give you some idea. Usually at the marathon, I have between 90 hours and 120 hours of training. Some people have like 300, 400. I like to keep it fun, and I said I like to keep it fun. Sometimes you'd come with me on the water and you'd ask me if I have fun, and I would tell you no because I go hard. But that's a fun way to train, I think, because I go out and do like 12 hours in the weekend because you need to hit a certain number of training hour. When I started, I remember my dad like in this time they were saying like you need at least 50 hours before starting to go hard in the beginning of a season, or you need at least 150 hours to do the Classique. So people will go out and they will go and do a 10K and 10K in 1 hour 45, and they think, yes sir, we did 1 hour 45, but really it should have taken you less than an hour. So that's how I think, like, to keep it fun, it's you go out, you don't lose your time, you get out, you do something else.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. And like for myself now, I have 4 kids, and when you start to have a family, it's, you want to
Yes.
be with them. And so you don't want to waste as much time out. So, it's it's important to be efficient and have a plan. And
Yeah.
when you talk about those hours, I would say that's quite a bit less, than most of those guys who do well in the top 10. So that's impressive that you can get by on those hours. You must be doing the right stuff.
I do also. I say I do like 100. Like at the Classique, usually I have like 150-hour max, and but I do a lot of. I go to the gym maybe 2-3 times a week during the summer even. So it's helped me maybe to stay on a good to keep the power there. Sometimes people go in the also say that in English, but they catabolic, like they lose their muscle.
Yep.
They consume their muscle and they end up being too weak when they go to the when that's a mistake that people do that doesn't know how to train, like the periodization. Is that a word?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So like how you put your training in order to get ready for your race.
Yep.
That's a lot of people that peak too early or too late or whatever. But if you try to go to the gym to paddle, to run, a lot of people will get to a marathon example and they'll peak at spike.
Yeah.
So that's a big. I think that's a big thing. I've heard that say like after the race, after the marathon, people are like, "Yeah, I think I've peaked at spikes" or stuff like that. I think it's funny too.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's why like stuff like Kevin is doing, I think it's really good. You'll see people that just didn't know how to train that will learn how to train and they will get really good at it.
Sure.
That's for sure. Like for you, when we're talking about the time when you go train, do you think it take more time to train in C2 or in triathlon? Like family time wise, like triathlon almost like bike and run, you can go from your home. Just the swim you have to leave. And like canoe, every time you go out, you need to take your boat out to the water with your car and stuff.
I would say that has been probably my biggest challenge since starting paddling. Is, I mean, we have some lakes close by, but to do anything longer on the river, Grayling's not that far away, but it's still a half hour for me.
Yeah.
And so, I'm driving a half hour and driving back. Whereas, with triathlon, I pretty much right out my door.
Yeah.
So it saves some time there, but it's in for triathlon. I think it's, it kind of depends on the distance you're training for.
Yeah, for sure.
I've done a couple of Ironmans, the longer triathlon.
Yes.
That takes quite a bit of training. The shorter ones you can get by on a little bit less, but
yeah. No, Ironman, when I was coaching swimming, most of my group was training to become Ironman or to do Ironman again.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of volume to do in week, and it's all year long. We kind of take paddlers kind of take the winter a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
But in the past couple of years, since I think maybe 2014, 15, I've seen a lot more of people getting after it during the winter to get ready for the season. The sports a lot of people kind of take it more seriously. I think now during the winter, they cross country skiing, they go to the gym a lot more, and they think about some. Before I think they were like, yeah, off season, let's go. And now because I see those people, and now they after it during the winter, and they keep getting faster also. So that's good.
Yeah, I'm sure that's, part of it is, seems like the level of the sport is continuing to go up, and so, as the sport continues to go up, it's, people are training harder,
but we still can beat the record of Serge and Salomon.
Yeah, that I've spoken, with Sal a couple times.
Yes.
This summer, and he was real helpful. But yeah, I mean, what year was that? That was 94, was it?
94, 13 hour, 54 minute, 58, 54, or something like that. Yeah, really fast.
Yeah, crazy.
Really fast.
They were in a V1, weren't they? I think, or
I don't remember.
I could. That's what Sal told me, but
maybe. Yeah, I know that Serge used to race a lot in the V1 and the back in those days.
The Corbin bow wasn't out yet, right?
No, they had some model back then, but it wasn't out yet. Maybe I know that Jeff Golka, I think, raced Gillies too. Maybe with Sir D race with Gillies. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know that V is a good boat for marathon. People telling it, but I just don't like. I don't like paddling the V. So I don't know why. It's just I just don't like it.
Yeah. So you talked about some strength training throughout the year.
Yes.
Could you maybe go into that a little bit? Like, what are some of the, I mean, are you mostly doing free weights? What do you incorporate with your strength training?
I had a trainer for the past maybe 4 or 5 years. It's a guy from here. It's a guy who owned the gym in Shawinigan Sud. His name is Caril Lafrance. He's been working with me. He's more of a kind of bodybuilder, more for really working on the mass. And I wanted to go in with him and work with him so we can just target those specific muscle for canoe. And we really worked on it. But during the summer, it was more of a kind of free weight a little bit, but was more like kind of bench press, pull-ups, some deadlift, squat, just those big ones. No isolation, no no thing with cable and pulley stuff, and no, not really something complicated. Just those basic movement. The last couple of years since I do kayak, and I went out and trained with all the team and stuff. They do a lot of powerlifting, clean and jerk, and those kind of stuff. So I picked that up, and I think it really helped me with the connection with my paddle. It helped me with like I can put a lot more power on my paddle since it's hard to say because I also been like growing up. So yes, I train and get like stronger with the gym, but also with it's me growing up. Also, that's normal that I can put more power at 25 than I used to at 20.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those powerlifting stuff helped me, and I think it's a good way to keep a lot of when you train like powerlifting, you keep a lot of mobility during your summer. Some people get stiff because they don't stretch enough. It's not part of our culture in marathon canoe to stretch after a training and do cool down.
Right.
So powerlifting, when you get out there and you do like you get ready to do it, you stretch, you really warm up. So that showed me a little bit. And now before I go out and like do a sprint training in canoe or kayak, I will also bring that to my my routine if you want.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. As far as you talking about your paddling technique being, using most of your body for that technique rather than just your arms.
Yes.
And so you're doing the same thing in the weight room as far as, a lot of, full body type, movements rather than just, like you said, the isolated type movements.
And it's kind of, it can be dangerous to do a gym during the summer at some point because you can, it's really, it's close to, not, I won't say overtrain, but to get too much fatigue after a training. So you really got to go with some weight that you'll be able to manage and won't be too sore the morning after. Your goal is not to put weight. It's not like during the winter, it's not to put weight. So there's sometimes I see people at the gym, some paddler at the gym during the summer, and I think they kind of go too hard instead of just doing it's just there to keep. So which, like, how many reps are you going to do? Many series, that's all stuff that you need to plan. And you also need to know, you want to go to the gym on Tuesday, then on Wednesday you can do if you want to do a big training on the water, then you'll have to do it in a way because you want to have fatigue in it. So it's all a good way to train, but you don't want to train always in fatigue. You don't want to always train when you're well rested. You don't want to train always at the same time, because I think for me it's a thing I've picked up. It's to not like to train at 8 at night, to train at 6 in the morning, to train at 5 in the morning, to train at 2 in the afternoon, to kind of always mix things up and not get too used to it. I know sometimes with job you don't have really choice. You need to go at 5 every time with 5. It work. It's also work. It just keep it try to go maybe at night. Maybe it's important if you want to do marathon. That's another trick I can tell to people sometimes.
Yeah, no, we certainly did that before our first. We did a couple paddles starting at like 9 o'clock at night. You know.
My first night paddle I've done was with Nick in 2013, and we broke the boat. We paddled together on the Tuesday when I got there. We raced on the Wednesday in the afternoon, then went for a night paddle. We flipped and we put like a big hole in the boat. It was a brand new boat. It was Steve Kalinich's boat. He was letting us. He got injured that year, and he let us use the boat. And we put a big hole in it. And my dad fixed it, but we haven't so me and Nick, we paddled 3 times before the race, so not even 3 hours of training together, and we got into the race on the Saturday night. So it was pretty like those days that you were paddling and hanging out and just like, okay, no more boat, no more paddling. Well, we'll have fun.
Yeah, you just gotta roll with it.
Yeah.
So just got a couple more questions here.
Sure.
One big aspect of all sports, and then certainly endurance sports, is nutrition.
Yes.
And so is there anything you do with like your regular diet, that you feel helps you as an athlete? And then maybe also talk a little bit about what you do during one of those longer races for your nutrition plan.
The same guy that do all my training plan, he's doing also my nutrition. And what I've learned is what you put in your body, the quality of it is really important. Don't take that's not a really good subject for me in English, but I try to don't take a transformed product. I try to all year long to stay on a good diet, good clean diet. And during the summer, I kind of like to put my body fat low, try to stay as lean as possible. That's just because I like to do diet. I like to get on the diet. It helped me to get into the zone, to motivate, and it helped me to know my reserve. Like I know that I have good reserve in my body. It's all just good. And during maybe what you eat and when you eat during your year, and like during your preparation when you train before you go out on the water, will make a big difference for your race. When you know your body all year long, you're used to feeding in and like to listen to your response of your body after going out on the training. When you get into a race, you really know what you'll be able to what will feed you like and make you go. For a longer race like marathon, I think that's the one that the nutrition is the more important, because you get out for 15 hours and more. So yeah. So you still go out there for a really long time. You can have 3 meal it really, like if you're up for 15 hours in a day, realistically you will have 3 meal at least. So I have a plan, so I know it's not like super perfect, but I kind of know how many calories I'm gonna burn. And I know how many glucide I need, how many carbs I need, how many proteins, how many fat, and I just put it with those feeding point. And I know I have usually I use in my water bottle, I have not much really, just sometimes plain water or just a little bit of carbs. I usually keep a little bottle with that's where I'll count my carbs in it. So I know that in this bottle, I have like 20 grams of carbs I need to take before the next feed. And in those carbs, I'll have sometimes protein depending on which feed is it. Sometimes I can have protein in it. I can have a little bit of everything. I have electrolyte in it. So that's a little key. I think it was Classique in 2019. I forgot to put electrolyte in my drink and it was really hot outside. And I took it in note, so that's not gonna happen again. But yeah, I go out and I don't eat a lot. I do grapes. I love grapes in the oatmeal bar during marathon. That's my go-to. I've done it one year with the gummy bear. You don't want to go in too much sugar. You don't want to go too low in sugar. You kind of figure out, I think, with your body there. I've heard stories, I think was I don't remember who, I think it was Andy Tribble that got cold hot dog at some point in the year. I've heard, I think Ryan Alstead got the McDonald's or like burger. I can't do that. I'm just sticking to like the minimum I can put in my body. I do a lot of caffeine during marathon. I take caffeine after Mayo, I try to not take caffeine till Mayo, but some year I had to take it before because I kind of fall asleep sometime and just get dizzy in the boat.
Yeah, I should do a whole show on what are some of the interesting things people have ate over the years for the marathon. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, special edition. Oh yeah, you can do a poll on Instagram or Facebook and have people saying what they've seen and heard. I've heard a story of a guy with a cold pizza. He sliced it and he put it like in Ziploc before the marathon.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, you get whatever you get to get you down the river. Eh?
Right.
It's a couple slices of pepperoni and pizza. Let's go.
Yeah. So, last two questions. So, what are some of your goals for the upcoming year? Do you have some goals?
Realistically, I just hope to have a season next year. And I'll hope with the work I'll be able to train as much as I want, and then with the time I have to put, then I'll figure out some more precise goal. But for the moment, I really just want to. I would like to go to the marathon if it's open. The border are open. Realistically, I don't think New York might be too early in the season for it, but I would like to go out and race marathon this year, and that would be my goal, would be to have a good marathon this year. And after that, I would like to go to the world championships in long distance kayak, if there's one. So that's usually it's about 30 to 40 kilometers race. So I would like to do that. I would have to qualify, but yeah, it all depends of the summer we're gonna have with the restriction and all. But I have a couple plans, I have a couple goals, and working towards it.
Awesome. If you come to the marathon, do you have a partner lined up yet?
I've been talking with a couple of people. I don't want to say any names or anything because it's really early. I usually get partnered up a little bit later with the situation also, but no, I will be in the bow, that's for sure. I think marathon it's really harder to do in the stern.
Okay.
So if I can do bow, I'll go bow.
Yeah, I think that's, I mean, it's probably personal preference, just what you I really like the stern, but I'm trying to spend a little time in the bow just to experience that too. But
it's really good to the best stern you'll see, like an example, like Surge is the best. Surge is the best stern and the best bow, but like you'll see MD Tribble is the best bow, I think, in the moment. And you've been paddling in the stern, you know how, because you need to know what your partner needs and when he needs it. If you've never been in the bow and you're always in the stern, you don't understand what your partner is going to, and etc. If you're in the bow and you've never been in the stern, you're like, why he doesn't go above that wave and just jump it? And then when you go out, when you go back there, you realize it's more difficult than you thought.
Right. No, perfect. Yeah, no, my partner and I have been trying to do a little bit of that more, just even if it's, like I'm in the bow, just even for like maybe a third of a paddle session, just to, understand what the other end of the boat is doing.
Yes. With Nick, and don't remember the year, but I remember changing place during the marathon with Nick. My ass was killing me, and we just had to, I couldn't stay seated in my seat. I was like, I want to go sit in your seat in front. So we had to change, and that's important. I know that Corbin used to do it also, and Bill Tarango and Cordu, I think, also were doing it quite a lot. So it can be a good strategy if both of the people in the canoe can do it. Why not? It just make the time go.
Right. Yeah. Awesome. So lastly, just want to give an opportunity to you. If you wanted to mention any sponsors that you have, or mention anyone that really helps you with your paddling career.
Yeah, sure. I would like to thank probably Bob Zevrall. He's been with me for a couple of years, since 2016. So thanks to him, he always been there for us. Probably the best paddle I had, and that's about it. No more, no big sponsor, no racing. So I like to say thanks to Mike Schaffer from 98.5 UPS. He's been a big sponsor of us since 2017. For us, I say us because it's a lot of people. started sponsoring. So
Right.
it's really, really helpful to get some to help us go out there. And it's thanks to them.
Yeah, they're an awesome sponsor for the marathon for sure. That's
Yes.
lucky to have them. So awesome. Well, hey, I certainly appreciate all your time, and I'll send you this here, probably in the next few hours, and then we'll share it out there in the paddling community.
No worries. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.